Hi there, tonight we're gonna have some tacos, so I thought I would record a video of how we make our homemade tortillas. They're super easy and super cheap, and they taste so much better than store-bought stuff. So what I do is I just take some flour, and for our family our size, we eat a lot of them, so we do 6 cups of flour, but you can do 4 and it'll be a little less. So I do the spoon and level. That way you don't end up with too much flour in your tortillas and your dough. And I make mine in the mixer. My mom never did, but it's just way easier. So that's what I do. And if you like tacos, this make tacos taste so much better. You can have bean and potato tacos and they would taste amazing because you're using homemade tortillas. I got this recipe from my mom. And she got it from her mom. So. Now I've made my own adjustments because of the way we eat. I sometimes don't have certain things on hand. So my mom always used vegetable shortening, but I end up using olive oil a lot because that's usually what I have on hand. I don't usually use vegetable shortening for pretty much anything, so I don't really buy it. But you can totally use vegetable shortening for this recipe. That's what my mom always did. Alright, so that was 3. So I'm going to do that again. And then I'll show you the next step. Now we're going to get some salt. So we're going to do the salt and the baking powder. So it's about 2 teaspoons of salt. This is kind of to taste, but I find that a little more salt tastes better. If not, they're a little bland. If you're doing the 4 cups, I would just do 1 teaspoon. Now we're gonna add the baking powder, and it's just a teaspoon and about a half. And then you just take your spoon and you just mix it all together. So now we're gonna add the olive oil, and I am adding a 1/3 cup. If you're doing a 4-cup recipe, then it would be a 4th cup. Once it starts mixing, I start adding the water. But let me show you. So it's kind of like making a pie where you want it to be kind of crumbly. You want the flour to get in there, mixed in there with the oil or whatever fat you're using. So it's crumbly. It's not going to be as crumbly as a pie because there's not as much fat in there, but same concept where you just want it to be grainy. Now, I add really hot water. Or not too, I can touch it obviously, but you want it to be really warm. And I do not measure. You're just gonna add until the dough starts forming. And then I'll show you how the dough is supposed to look like. So I'll take this off just so you can see. So that obviously is really dry, so you're gonna add water little by little. You don't wanna add too much water. And kind of like with all dough recipes, if you live in a humid climate, you're gonna probably need a little less water. So you just kind of have to watch it. So, a little more. Let me show you how it's looking. So this is still a little bit obviously underdone. You have to knead it a little more, but it's starting to feel sticky. So I'm gonna try to not add any more water and see if I can just knead it. like it's about done. So let me just show you. I would say you can make this into burrito tortillas, and you can make the ball bigger. You can just really make these as big as you want, or as small as you want. You can make little mini tortillas. So that's about the size of a tortilla once you roll it out. So, and then just put them there, and then I'm just gonna work through all the dough, and then we'll roll them out. I use a cast iron skillet to make these. You want it to be really, really hot. So I put it in the highest setting in my electric stove, and then once it gets really hot, I usually already have a couple of these rolled out, so it makes it easy to go kind of fast. Not super fast, but kind of fast. And I also have some extra coconut oil, and I just brush it on just to keep it moist. You don't want to fry them. You just want a little layer just so this doesn't start drying out, because you want to keep your cast iron skillets oil. So I'm just going to put mine up here to the side. And I use a rolling pin. I think this is a 21 inch. I'm not sure. I can look it up and link it below. I got this off Amazon, and it is awesome. I used to have another one, but this one's way better. And you're also going to want about a cup of flour. You probably will need it all, especially if your dough is like mine. It's a little dry. So I'm going to try to use as little flour as possible. But if your dough was a little wet or sticky, you can just sprinkle some flour down, and when you roll them out, and it should work perfect. So let's try it out without the flour first. I'll just use a tiny bit to powder my rolling pin. And see, they're not sticking at all. I'm also not the best at making them circular, but we don't mind. We eat them anyway. They taste just fine. My mom's really good at it, and she actually makes one of my square tortillas, as she calls them. So you see, that's about how big they're going to be. You can stretch them out a little more if you want to, as long as you're applying even pressure. So put them aside. I just lay them right on there until this is ready, until my skillet's hot enough for them. We'll see. Again, they don't have to be perfect, at least not in my book, but if you're a little more picky, then you can always try to make them a little more round. All right, and then I just keep adding them in here. So this is starting to smoke a little bit, so now I know it's ready. So I'm going to put it down to about a low setting. And I'm just going to grab a tortilla and put it right in there. So they should start puffing up a little bit. I don't know why the first one I make never really puffs up enough. I think it's because the pan might still be not hot enough. But the next one should be better. And they'll be nice and soft. I have a tortilla holder. Not sure what they're called. Spanish, it's called un tortillero. So that's what I call it. And I just line it with either a towel or a paper towel, and then all our tortillas go in there. Just grab it. And there we go. I'm done making the tortillas. We ended up with 25 taco-sized tortillas. And I'm going to give them a try. These are really easy to make, and they're extremely inexpensive, and they just taste so much better than this store-bought stuff. I grew up eating these. My mom made them all the time. And I really hope that you give them a try. Thank you for watching.